All right, let's go. Decentralized Pictures Talent Cast. I'm Matt. That's Steve, also known as Pondweed, winner of the Never Alone Award for his screenplay, Dollyville. Thanks so much for being here, Steve.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, so let's dive right in. So let's tell the audience a little bit of background about yourself and your history of being a filmmaker, producer, and writer.
Oh, right. I've been writing for quite a few years, but I found there was a sort of a long gap between writing something and getting it published. And I thought there's got to be a better way of doing this and get to an audience. So I did a film writing course. This was about 15 years ago. I thought, yeah, I can do this. But then someone said, well, you've written something, but you need a production company. And I said, oh, okay. So I wandered my office and I walked out and I said, I've got one. It's just a concept in your head anyway. Then they said, you need someone to direct it. I said, oh, okay. And I thought to shoot it. I said, okay. So I went to the local college and found they were just doing the end of year degree show. So I found the best person in each category and said, will you come and shoot and direct this picture, which they all agreed to do, which was fantastic. And that was about 13, 14 years ago, something like that. I've been making short films ever since. But I say I've always been interested in writing. Got a whole batch of feature films written too. It's no good having one. Got to have a lot, just in case you get caught in an elevator. And so, with a famous, producer, and he says, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I make films." And he goes, "What do you do?" You go, "Horror." He goes, "I hate horror." I go, "Oh, okay. Rom-com." "No, I hate rom-com." "Oh, hell." You just hopefully you get lucky. But yeah, so I've been making films about 14 years.
Okay. So obviously you're not a newcomer here. You've got some experience as a writer, as a creator, and so it's fun to see that kind of experience come to this new and exciting platform like Decentralized Pictures. So let's talk about your winning screenplay again, Dollyville, winner of the Never Alone Award. Congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us about a little bit more about that project.
Well, excuse my voice. Yes, I came across through Decentralized Pictures, through basically the Film 3 community, mostly through Film Squad. I can't remember how I first saw it, and Film Freako, of course, Film Freako. So I got there, I thought, oh, this is really interesting. I was looking at the script, that's some pretty good stuff here. I thought, well, look, you have to, if you're going to participate in something, it's good to do likes and encourage and reviews. And I thought, well, just put a piece in there. So I put a piece together and I put it in, and it seemed to hit the mark. So people seemed to like it. Maybe it was a novel twist on something. I was also mindful, of course, very small budget. One room. Make sure it's definitely one room with the fewest actors you can get away with. No fancy tricks and so on. So with those constraints in mind, I came up with Dollyville, and it was a play on the idea of what binds people together. When people get married, or they're in a relationship, you have this kind of, I love you because you're beautiful. And maybe over time that kind of morphs into that more philosophical kind of love, you're beautiful because I love you. And I thought, well, both of those are kind of nice, but then people are bound together by lots of other reasons in relationships. And I kind of just want to explore that idea. And I thought, this kind of idea of voodoo dolls was a sort of novel idea. And it seemed to work. People seemed to like it. So I was really pleased by that. It's always nice when you get recognition for something you've done, because you may like it, but doesn't mean the world likes it.
Sure.
So that validation is important as a writer.
Absolutely. And tough to get that breakthrough. Absolutely tough to get that breakthrough. And so there was some interesting criteria attached to the Never Alone Award, and I really want to dive into that information. So there was criteria around, make sure I get this right. Look at my cheat sheet here. Optioning the screenplay and derivative NFT rights for a $500 fee. And then there's also a feature of receiving a portion of the NFT sales from the finished film. So have you ever been part of a financing arrangement like this before?
No, that's completely unique to me. I've always self-financed on the basis I can't stand standing in line waiting for money. I just do it myself. It's easier. But I've been fortunate in that regard that I can do it. So this was this was completely novel, and I've been an NFT collector for a good while. I've got quite a few NFTs, so I'm familiar with the space. And I like to, if I get engaged with something, is to, as I say, is to get fully engaged with it. Hence, submitting the script. And the NFT side of it is fantastic. And of course, I knew, in entering it, I had no expectation of winning, but you got Sherry producing, and you've got Film Freako filming it. The film will be fine. So I was more than happy with that arrangement. That was a very good arrangement, with no expectation of winning. But having succeeded, I'm still happy with the arrangement. That's great.
Yeah, so
and we've got some fantastic people doing the NFTs, I believe, so as well. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So are we at the front end of this? Do you expect to see more and more productions with financing arrangements that are similar to this?
I certainly hope so. The chances of me getting another one are slim, but that's no reason. There's no reason not to do them, and no reason to support other people doing it. So it's a fantastic opportunity. And I'm always spreading the word. I'm saying, look, there are opportunities out there for people. It's a new way of doing it. And I didn't fill a format, which is kind of appealed to me. But of course, you're being judged, I think, for the right reasons, because I know with a lot of film funding, sort of locally, it's about who you know, and it shouldn't be about who you know. It should be about the work. I think every writer would agree with that. Knowing people's great, but it should be about the work. And I think this is about the work.
Yeah, well stated. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see, because it allows, it's made my mind kind of run. What are the possibilities here with NFTs, and so I attended the Film 3 Summit a couple weeks ago in Los Angeles, and and a lot of conversation, a lot of discussions around the NFT aspect in this Film 3 space and the opportunities that it creates for filmmakers. So.
Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, I've got NFTs for the Judah Pacino. That was the Miguel Fowl, and for Film Freako. And some of them for Poe, some of them for Pre. So I'd like to get involved. So I'm well aware of the benefits, and in all three cases they've used that money wisely. And it's about supporting the community. There's some talented people out there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, so that's excellent discussion on NFTs, and and I really do believe that we're on the front end here, and it's going to be exciting to see of how this this example kind of just plants the seed, and it's going to be interesting to see where it grows from there. So what's the status of the project? Where's Dollyville at today?
Somebody asked me that in the chat, and I said on the write-up, ask catering. Catering needs to know, what's happening before I do. It's because I think the project was done so quickly. A lot of the things that you would have planned for the back end are having to be done now. You'd have pre-planned on what you're going to do. So all I know is it's in post. There's somebody working on the NFTs, and that's all I know. But I won't ask anybody, because I know they're really, really busy working hard on it. I think there's a date scheduled for something like beginning of middle of December or something to have it finished by. But you'd have to speak to sort of Sherry or Frico on that one. I said I don't need to know. I'm the writer. I acknowledge that.
That's a beautiful thing, being able to hand over your baby and let someone else run with execution. So that's great. So, okay, well, we're going to switch gears a little bit here. So we're going to switch away from Dollyville and talk about another interest of yours, and that is the Star Virtual Cinema that is within Decentralized. So this is an area of interest for me personally. I own some mana tokens myself, some decentralized mana tokens, and there's talking about different use cases, for NFTs and what are the possibilities within the metaverse, and seeing Film 3 and its possibilities of attending screenings and going to film festivals and having events within the metaverse. So talk to us a little bit about the Star Virtual Cinema that you're behind, and then also what do you envision some of those capabilities looking like within the metaverse for cinema?
Yeah, the idea for the cinema came, I think it was 2020. We had the first lockdown. My wife and I tend to focus our holidays quite often around film festivals. We both love film and film festivals. I've got the wrong car to land the beach, so we love film festivals. Of course, we couldn't go. The alternative was to have online streaming, but I was really aware that from certainly from an indie filmmaker's point of view, the guy will have written it sitting at his Mac. He'll have edited it. He'll have done color grade. He will have done sound design. Probably all of it on his Mac, sitting in the same spot. And to experience the film festival like that seems to be no event at all. Now, it's better than not going to the festival at all. I was also mindful that, you can't always go to film festivals for geography and economics. I mean, I've been accepted to film festivals, but I'm not going to travel halfway around the world for a small film festival. Now, sure. You get into a big film festival, sure, you'll go. But there's also having an audience. And I was trying to think of a way where you could get a larger audience, both for the festival organisers and for the filmmakers, because they want the widest possible audience. So I thought, well, a virtual cinema seems like a really nice compromise between the actual and just an online streaming. So I got in touch with a guy in New Orleans, who happens to be a genius at this kind of thing, and a builder in Decentralized, and he said, sure, yeah, I'll build you. So we built the cinema, we got in touch with festivals, we've hosted a whole range of different festivals, so really quite large ones, I won't mention any names. They've been a great success, and I'll give you an example. We did one a couple of weeks ago, and in the actual physical attendees over a weekend or so, there were like 445 people. We had 700 plus in the virtual world. So that's 700 more people who went who wouldn't have gone, and presumably 700 more eyes watching films that wouldn't have seen films. So we've kind of tested it, and it does work, and we're really quite pleased with that. So it's a way of attending festivals. And I think the benefit of going via a virtual world is that I've been in the cinema plenty of times. And I'll be, somebody stood there, you wait for the next film to start, and you'll just, hit chat, and some guy from India, some guy from Brazil, some woman from Argentina, somebody from 20 miles away. You can meet people. So it's a meeting place, and it is a place, if you're running a festival, where you can meet the director from Chile talking to the winning actress from Iceland in the film. You can't do that in the real world. So I think it has huge amounts of potential. And also, one of the other things, side was actually introducing people into the crypto space. Now, they'll come in as guests, but they'll suddenly figure out eventually, well, hang on, what's this tipping jar? What's this, what's this Mana? What's this wallet? What's a MetaMask? And so on and so forth. So all those things do follow once people are in the space. Once they're in and they see it works, they will follow through and do the other things. I've seen that elsewhere with other projects. So I think it has a lot of potential, because we all need users of these things. Building things is no good if nobody uses them.
Yeah. So you mentioned that these festivals have been fairly well attended already. So the response has been good. What's the response been like from filmmakers? Is this an approachable option? Are filmmakers comfortable with this idea of screening their film within the metaverse, within Decentraland? And what are the questions? What do the questions look like from filmmakers as they're considering this option?
There've been a couple of outstanding examples where we've just done private screenings for some filmmakers, but we mostly deal directly with the festivals, and they get permission from the filmmakers to screen. So we don't deal directly with the filmmakers themselves. Mm-hmm. However, I do deal with filmmakers direct, because I run a filmmakers group myself locally. And I've also dropped in a number of sort of, independent filmmakers sort of chats, the idea. And it's skepticism most of the time. They don't understand it. They certainly don't trust it. And it is a case of sort of just bringing them in one by one. And I think the festivals is a good way because they'll happily go into it because it's an audience for them, and then they realise, this is what it does. So you have to bring them in by the back door. They don't want to come through the front door.
Interesting. Yeah. So do you think, getting people, past that skepticism is, showing that, no kidding, we have strong supporters, we have a strong audience that want to attend and view films in this format, and having maybe big names, big production company names behind the festival itself? Would some of those things assist with the approachability?
All those things would help. And I'm not quite sure why there is skepticism. I confess I'm slightly baffled because the demographic is perfect for the kind of gameplay environment you get in these kind of ones. These people, they're brought up on it, all the kind of 25 to sort of 35s, 45s is the right demographic. And yet they kind of isn't. And I guess it's because they seem to have this aspiration that they all want to get, a Netflix deal. I don't know why. Or an Amazon deal. I don't know why. The chances of you making any money are slim. Now, it's not to say that people shouldn't do that, but there are other ways to get an audience. And they're all seem set on a particular career path. When I say, well, go out and fail. Failing's great. Kind of figure out what not to do. It's scary, but and try other things. But a lot of people are, they're desperate to make a career. Whereas I actually I've never set out to make a career in films. It's always been fun for me to do, and that way I would, if I don't take myself too seriously, I've got a better chance of succeeding.
Nice. Yeah, this is a fascinating concept to talk about, and everybody has their own stories. If you're into Web3, Film 3, and you're talking about, wearing an Oculus, or hanging out in Decentralized and going to a park, or buying a virtual coffee at a virtual coffee shop, or going to see a movie at a virtual cinema. Those conversations can get very interesting very quickly, and you can lose some people very quickly. But I just think through time, the traction is just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, I think when you get companies like Meta come in, if they ever do, they can recover from their losses. If VR takes off and virtual worlds become more mainstream, then anybody who's already involved in that space is ideally placed. And I've already noticed in the chat, in the Discord chat, there's been several people who have popped up with, cinemas in crypto voxels. So there's lots of experimentation out there, lots of different ways of doing it. But I think people, when you call it something else, people will follow. And the same with NFTs. If they end up being called digital collectibles, I mentioned them yesterday in a sort of small group discussion at this film meetup, and I could see a guy, his hackles went up immediately. He says, I hate NFTs. He had no basis for hating them. He didn't understand them, but he just hated them.
I'm tired of hearing about them. I'm tired of hearing about crypto. I'm tired of hearing about NFTs.
So I think once it becomes the norm, but like everything, it becomes the norm. But they will follow. It just takes time, and I know we use this a lot in the crypto space, but we're early. We are really, really early.
I know. I've been in this since 2017, and it feels like it's been around forever. Here we are. And it's been around much longer than that. Yeah. And but for most folks, it's still very early.
I've got a screen just there, and I'm just watching the prices, and they're going back to 2017.
All right. Well, it'll be exciting to see where this Star Virtual Cinema goes.
You pop and check it out.
I will. I absolutely will. So we will finish with that. That concludes the main part of the interview. But I've got to finish with Matt's speed round. So it's just a few topics. This is just for fun. Just throw out, don't overthink this. Just throw out the first word or two that comes to mind. Okay. So we'll build off of the Star Virtual Cinema. So the first word that comes to mind, metaverse cinema is?
Awesome.
I can get behind that, no doubt. Future of NFTs.
The gateway to everything.
Writing is
Heaven. Could be hell if I have two words.
And that's what is, I got something similar. I think it was in my Matt Sheldon interview. I think he said something like hard or, just extremely difficult or something like that. So I can see that.
When it works, it works. When it doesn't, it's hell.
Fair. All right. Favorite movie of all time?
Broadway Danny Rose.
Okay.
I just like the hapless, hopeless of the character. Yeah. I'm a big Woody Allen fan, so that's my favorite.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know if you take the quizzes on the DCP platform, but there's a fair amount of Woody Allen questions on there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back in there because I only got 52 last time.
Me too. I
was second to bottom. I go, I shouldn't be here.
Oh, I started waving the white flag. It's just like they were getting too difficult, and it just like, international directors that I have never heard of, and it just like, and what's amazing, and there's some people scoring like 98, 99 out of 100 on there.
Either they're really fast at Google searches, or they wrote the questions, which I said they didn't, or it's there's some smart people.
No doubt. Well, Steve, this was an awesome interview. Really appreciate your time today, and congratulations on your win with the Never Alone Award. And appreciate. I see you all over the DCP platform. So look forward to seeing more from you in the near future.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and it is a phenomenal platform, and and I'm more than happy to go and lend support to projects as and when I can. These things have to be supported.
Yeah, absolutely. So exciting days ahead, no doubt. So thanks again, Steve, and we will see you around.
Good.